What I want, people, Sabi again, and I want to have a conversation today about this whole business of the importation of student athletes from all over the place, particularly coming out of Africa. And I want to have this conversation against a background of a report that I watched recently on Sportsmax television, where they were addressing the issue of the age tampering. In fact, there's a report coming out of the continent where the sports governing body, track and field, and so on, had and at the soccer levels had to literally call a couple of countries. Cameroon was one of them. Kenya is another one, where they claimed they had done the investigations to determine this high level of age tampering, age fixing. And, one wonders as to how that would impact somewhere like Jamaica. Now, over the years, certainly over the last 5 years, we have seen an influx of Africans into the Jamaican school system, secondary school system. My old school, KC, guilty of it because they're, the ones who, to a large extent, have ramped up this process. I think today KC has at least half a dozen Africans in the school system there. And that, is just a continuation of a practice that has, gained some traction over the last 5 to 6 years. The question though is, what is the purpose? We live in an age now where human trafficking is a big issue. And to a large extent, some of the critics of this particular policy look at it again in the context of human trafficking. And why do I say human trafficking? Essentially, because United States schools and the United States have a huge economy, so their school system, is far more amenable to this kind of thing. They bring talent in to sort of encourage the growth of programs, to use the track and football programs to attract locals and nationals from even other countries who want to come to the United States. And so those links have basically extended into Africa. A lot of these Africans now recognize that through the track program, well, the US track program connections have their tentacles in Africa. Those tentacles stretch back to Jamaica. And so what they do, they bring the athletes in from Africa to Jamaica and then give them a leapfrog thing into the United States. So at least them do a high school program in a Jamaica and then can use that to leapfrog into the college system in America. Now, in general, this is talking about, educational opportunities. But when you introduce the issue of birth certificate or age fraud, birth certificate fraud, age registration fraud, it becomes a bigger problem. Sportsmax had a big discussion on this recently. And, the discussion still up in the air, inconclusive. And it begs the question, what is the value to our program? Now, people will say, a lot of the critics, because when I raised this first, I raised this a couple of years ago, because I, for one, don't support it. Let me make that clear, right? I went to KC in 1969, and I went to Kingston College. I remember just before school started, we gathered at the chapel at North Street, and the bishop, Percival William Gibson, the late Percival William Gibson, addressed us, and he talked about the ethos of Kingston College and the purpose for which the school was created. And that purpose was to provide poor Jamaican boys, with an opportunity to get an education so they could improve their personal and family positions, right? 1925. In fact, KC next month celebrates 100 years of existence. And, against that background, you wonder, have we reached the zenith as an institution? And I'm speaking specifically about Kingston College, that we could say we have accomplished the mandate, realized the mandate that KC was established by. And so there's no more poor people in Jamaica. There are no poor boys who are looking for an opportunity to go to a high school of the caliber of a Kingston College. Because against that background, are there no youngster who are not yet attending KC who have the capacity to do long distance running at the level that these quote unquote Africans are? And let me say again why I make this point. The current records for the 3, 5,000 and 1,500 meters at champs are held by Jamaican athletes, right? None of these Africans who have been brought in have broken any of these records or have set any, outstanding standards that you can say we're going to mimic those standards within our school system, in the secondary school system in Jamaica, to grow distance running. My belief is, if you're serious about, in expanding distance running in the school system, and you want to bring some Africans and bring some coaches, bring some long distance running coaches from Africa, Kenya and Ethiopia. These are the countries that have, an established track record of producing distance runners. So let's bring a half a dozen coaches and let us sprinkle them through the system. GC Foster College, where they can help teach some of the other, coach aspirants the elements of distance running. And so we build some distance running coaches in the country, where the contribution now becomes national. When you bring an athlete come into the school system for 2 years, because invariably that's all them do in the school, 2 years, maybe 3, lucky if them do 3, right? At the end of those 2 or 3 years, right, and we're not even going to touch the cost, they're going to go back to wherever they come from. Even if them get the opportunity of taking the human trafficking route and jump on a scholarship to go to a college in America. When them done, them gone back to Africa. Jamaica has benefited zero from that. But Jamaica has expended money to provide them with the 2 years of education. And this is money. It don't matter who paid. If it's the Old Boys Association that pay for it, it is money that we are leaking out of the system in a country that can't afford it. Jamaica don't have enough money to stop a stalebread cat. So we can't afford to take expensive education and give to somebody where at the end of the time, them gone. There is no zero contribution comes to Jamaica for the time that they have spent. It don't matter that them come to school and them contribute 10 or 12 points. In fact, at KC, none of the Africans who have run for champs at KC, the points that they earned is of zero consequence to Kingston College results at champs, because them win champs by 50, 60, 100 points. So they never even need them. So if you bring athletes in for bolster your point standings, you have not justified it. Me personally, me dead set against that. And that is not because I don't believe in giving these youngsters a chance. But me come from a principle that say, passing, christening, picnic first. Jamaica is a poor country. Jamaica is a country where educational opportunities are few and far between, particularly at the secondary level. KC ranks somewhere between 22 and 25 on the roster of schools, secondary schools in Jamaica. And so KC is a plum choice for most youngsters who want to go to one of these schools. The same applies to schools like JC, Calabar, you know, Diego, because Diego have some of these athletes too. JC have some of them too. And so you imagine that you have your picnic come through the primary school system who have a little ability to run, do a little running, play a little football, and then end up in a secondary school, any one of them school, right? And by the time them reach third form, when them just about ready to bust into the track or the football system, we bring in two boys from Africa or from wherever, and they displace those youngsters, right? And you have to, not even Jesus can come down off of the cross and tell me otherwise. Because no matter how you look at it, we are displaced. We in Jamaica don't have resources that we can afford to displace Jamaicans. We don't have it. What we need to be doing in Jamaica is providing every Jamaican youth with the opportunity to realize their potential. And when we have fully satisfied that, then we can talk about let's bring in some people. But as long as there are youngsters out there, right, or we have not done a fulsome enough search, because me guarantee that we can find athletes students in the junior secondary or primary school system that have the potential to become good middle and long distance runners if you provide them with the requisite training. Because when you do that, these youngsters are going to be in, after them finish high school, 5 years, 7 years, right? They are Jamaicans who will, if them go on to university, them get a scholarship, they are contributing back to Jamaica, whether through remittances, them send money back for help them families. They are able to give back to the very institutions that help them to get where they are, as opposed to giving these opportunities to people who are from outside. Is the one principle that Mr. Wade Trump up here deal with, and I say America first. Me believe in a Jamaica first, right? Jamaica don't have the resources. And for those people who will say to want to raise the argument, but when we do that, suppose America lock way off and them don't want take Jamaicans into the school system. It is an inconflatable argument, because the United States is a first world country with all of these resources, and they come to Jamaica to scout and to find that talent, because the talent don't exist in America. So they come to Jamaica. So Jamaica will never ever be pushed back because nobody don't want to give them these opportunities. They are always, in fact, long before champs run, the track scouts are in the system. Them have them plans. Them have people in Jamaica who will look for up and coming talent so them can provide them with scholarships. We don't have those resources, and so we are not in a position to be making these kind of arrangements. Me, I'm a Jamaican first and foremost, and I believe that Jamaica must come first and foremost. Against the background of the age issue that the Sportsmax program spoke to, you're left to wonder if it ever happens that a fulsome investigation is done and it end up that some of these same institutions have youngsters who are guilty or recipients of this kind of tampering thing, and it kick back on the school system. What are we going to say? Right? What we're going to say? We live in an age where we need, first and foremost, to be a lot more careful. And B, what we're doing, there is no necessity for us to be doing what we're doing, right? Because it is not for Jamaica to be providing space in our secondary school system. That is insufficient and inadequate in and of itself already. And that we are taking these spaces and we are giving. It may not seem like much, 2, 5, 10, by the time you add them up, 25 spaces, but that's 25 spaces that will go to 25 Jamaican youngsters who themselves are just, chomping at the bits to be given that opportunity. And instead of our scouts and recruiters who are going all the way to Kenya and Ghana and Uganda and Ethiopia to find an athlete who we can say we have foreign athlete in our school at the expense of Jamaicans. And that's how me look on it, right? That's how me look on it. Me believe that Jamaican have the resources, and don't tell me that is the money don't come from them, because at the end of the day, if the students sit down in the class, the space that them occupy in there is a Jamaican space, and the lectures that them listen to is provided by a teacher that is paid by the taxpayers, right? And that money could be better spent on a Jamaican youngster who, when him finish school, him or she, right, they are going, even if them go a foreign, come do some college thing and whatever, or them benefit from the track and field program, at the end of the day, they are heading right back to Jamaica, or the benefits of their scholarship comes back to Jamaica, either in the form of time and our remittances or contribution back to them school. That is not the case with the athletes that we are providing with these opportunities. And whether you want to like it or not, we are providing these opportunities at the expense of Jamaicans who could be will be better suited to make those spaces available. So we give every single Jamaican who desire a space or an opportunity, we provide them with that. Tell me one thing. I know some people are going to say, boy, Ray. But I'm not against us providing the assistance. I'm saying, is it the purpose that we are doing it? Is it clearly demarcated? Are we realizing the benefits for it? Because if you tell me, say, we're going to build a distance running program, athletes who will leave after 2 years is not building a program. And even if that is the case, what is the program timeline? What is the outline of the program? What are we looking to accomplish and over what timeline? And wouldn't we have been better off, since distance running is what we are trying to do? Wouldn't we have been better off if we go down to Kenya or Uganda or Ethiopia and we pick up 2 or 3 coaches, good enough coaches that we can carry them, append them to the GC Foster thing, that them help build some of the local coaches into how to develop some distance runners among Jamaicans? Think about it and tell me one thing. If you like the video, give me a feedback in the comment section. And if you have not yet done so, subscribe to the channel so we can have these conversations from time to time. Respect.